Hello world, and welcome to another Pound Zero weigh-in video for week 11 this week. It is another video where I'm not exactly looking my finest. I did another day trip yesterday, actually this time to a small town in country New South Wales called Bundanoon for their annual Highland gathering. And I've spent today, the better part of today, feeling like I'm hungover, even though I didn't drink anything. Although that's probably part of the problem. I did allow myself to get quite dehydrated over the course of the day. And I guess even though I tried to rectify it when I got home, I'm suffering the consequences of it. So guys, please drink plenty of water, no matter what you're doing. Alright, so this week's not going to be a great week. And you'll see what I mean when we get there. I guess we'll just move on to the weigh-in. So, you might remember from last week's weigh-in video where I said I'd been for another day trip up to Sydney, and I acknowledged that I had eaten quite poorly over the course of the day. That, you know, travelling and eating is quite difficult. So what I had actually eaten that day, we'd stopped for McDonald's for breakfast on the way up, and I had bacon and egg McMuffin and 2 hash browns with a coffee. Let's just say I had a gratuitous amount of coffee over the course of the day. For lunch, we didn't eat until quite late, and I just had this meat pie with mashed potato and mushy peas and gravy, which was absolutely divine. But, you know, not the healthiest of meals I could have chosen. And of course, to follow that up, we stopped off at Krispy Kreme's, where I did get a custard-filled donut and had that too. That was my first Krispy Kreme in probably a decade. And while it was very nice, it's probably my last one for another decade. So the weigh-in on Sunday was quite good because I did that before we'd left for Sydney. But come Monday, I was actually initially shocked to find that I had in fact gained about 3 kilos, or it's like 6.5-ish pounds, and virtually overnight. I expected there to be a fluctuation because of what I had eaten, but 3 kilos was it. That shocked me. I didn't expect it to be that much. So I kind of tried to rationalize with myself that perhaps it was just because I'd eaten so poorly over the day and probably not drunk enough water, so over the course of a couple of days it would flush out and I may lose about half of that. And then I could just continue the weight loss from there, but no. That was big bag of nope. Followed a couple of days later when my weight loss just continued from that new high, which is very disappointing, to say the least. So, to recap on my weight loss journey, I started the year in January at 120 kilos, or 264.5 pounds. I keep looking down because I have it written right in front of me. So last week I weighed in at 111.9 kilos, or 246.5 pounds, or 246 pounds. I'm not great on the conversions, I have to admit. And this week, because I'm losing weight from a new high, it seems, I weighed in at 113.2 kilos, or 249.5 pounds. So this week I've actually gone up 1.3 kilos, or 2.8 pounds. I have no one else to blame except myself. I make my own choices, and what I choose to put in my body does affect my weight. I'm probably most angry at the fact that I was so close to a mini goal of 110 kilos that I should have achieved this week, if not next week. So angry, disappointed with myself. But this is part of the learning curve, isn't it? For all of us out there. Just keep going and keep aiming for that mini goal. That was so close, I could taste it. And I guess learn from our mistakes. No more Krispy Kremes for a decade. So yeah, because food is such a big thing in weight loss, and of course whoever they are, say that a good weight loss regime is 80% diet and only 20% exercise. My motivation this week is actually going to focus on food. So this week I'm going to introduce you to an app called MyFitnessPal. Now, I use MyFitnessPal daily. I use it to track my food intake as well as my exercise, surprisingly enough, and how the two play off against each other. But of course, you know, weight loss, you've got the food, energy, fuel in versus the burn, and MyFitnessPal helps you calculate that. It is a free app, and for the most part it is a food journal to help you track what you're eating, and I suppose the calorie content of your intake. What I like about it is that it's so very easy to use. You can add in individual items if you wish. If you're eating pre-packaged food, you can simply just scan the barcode and it will come up with what it scans in at and what the calorie content is, and will even advise you if it's like a double or triple serve, what a single serve actually is. It's the app that I use when I'm trying to calculate calories for stuff that I've never had before, especially in some of the food reviews, because I can just scan it. You can import recipes directly from the web or manually. So if you can't find what you're looking for, you can just punch it in. Or if you're changing up the ingredients to try to be more healthy with an old favourite, you can easily do that too. Now, of course, it also links with a bunch of fitness apps. I know mine is linked to my Garmin watch and my Strava. And I think it's also linked to a couple of other health apps I have on my phone. So they all talk to each other, which is nice. So it will calculate my food intake with my calorie burn to kind of judge about where my food intake should be for the day, if I need to increase it or decrease it, which I tend not to do. I like to try and stick to the 1,200 calories a day, regardless of whether I exercise or not. I might go a little bit over that if I am hungry, but only if I'm hungry, not just because the app tells me to. There's not a lot more I can say about this app. It is just so super easy to use. You can copy meals over for a day, so if you have the same thing for breakfast, you just keep flicking, I think it's flick left, kind of like Tinder, not that I've ever used it, and it just adds in the meal that you had the day before, if you're super boring with breakfast like me. Like I said, link in the description below, check it out, and hopefully it'll help somebody else on their weight loss journey too. So it's highly likely that unless you've been living under a rock somewhere, that you've heard of Buddha bowls. Now, Buddha bowls are a healthy, trendy, and sometimes even beautiful meal that is all the rage on the interwebs at the moment. Is becoming a real thing for 2017. And of course, they will fit with most diets, which is great. There's no real strict guidelines in defining what a Buddha bowl actually is, except that it should contain protein, it should contain veggies, grains, and a dressing of some variety. And of course, in essence, the idea is that the bowl is so overstuffed that it looks like the belly of a Buddha. So of course, the idea not to overeat is pretty essential too. So as a breakdown, the Buddha bowl is to contain 15% lean protein, 25% whole grains, 35% vegetables, 10% sauce, and 30% extras. And by extras we mean nuts, seeds, sprouts, that kind of thing. So the meal I'm going to share with you this evening, even though I shut my phone down, and so I'm doing this on my phone instead of my book as usual. It's a sweet potato taco bowl. Taco. Happy for someone to correct me on that. Sweet potato taco bowl. It's super filling, super easy to make. I think it took me about 20-25 minutes to smash one together. Does require a little bit of planning though, because obviously you need to plan the ingredients and portion size and whatnot. But it is super tasty. And of course does go through the system quite quickly. So if you want something that's a bit cleansing in your diet, this is probably one of the meals to consider. It really doesn't need anything added to it, I found. I didn't really feel like I needed to change up any of the vegetables or portion size. I did slow down quite a bit towards the end of the bowl. It was quite filling, especially when I've been trying to reduce my food intake. Generally, I suppose my stomach shrunk a bit, as I would normally have just devoured a bowl of this size in no time flat, and probably gone back for seconds too. But you know, give it a go. There are hundreds of Buddha bowl recipes out there if you're looking for something. Oh, in terms of calories, this comes in at around 440 calories per serve. So it is probably a bit high for a 1200 calorie diet, unless you take it very easy on your other meals during the day, which I suppose if you're planning to have a Buddha bowl in the evening, you should probably take it easy on the other meals. In terms of calorie intake, but it is super scrummy, wow, super tasty. There's a new one for today. It probably will keep well too for probably about 24 hours. So if you're making a huge lot to take some for lunch the next day, it will keep. Probably that I wouldn't take it much past day 2 though. Just because everything in it is so fresh, it'll start going brown and probably a bit manky, and it'll just be less appetizing, although probably perfectly fine. Anyway, give it a shot. Tell me what you think in the comments below if you do. Enjoy. Well, that's it from me for another week. Thanks for putting up with this again. Next week I promise to be better. Probably shouldn't promise that, but I'm going to try. I will try to be better. Of course, if you're new, I hope you enjoyed watching, and if you like what you see, of course, please subscribe. If there's anything that you would like me to look into, leave a comment in the description below. Of course, give the videos a thumbs up, and I will see you at some point during the week for probably a mini video. Otherwise, I will see you next week for the next weigh-in, which I hope will be much better than this week. So until then, be healthy and be good to each other. Thanks. Bye.
Please hang up and try again.